Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to lecture 4C, the third part of the fourth lecture, that is cropping pattern as indicators of environment. So this is the topic for today. First of all, we should know what is cropping pattern. Cropping pattern refers to proportion of land under cultivation of various crops at different points of time. That is, as we can see from here, it refers to proportion of land that is under cultivation at different points of time. So this is how you can define cropping pattern: proportion of land under cultivation at different points of time. That is cropping pattern. And cropping pattern indicates time and arrangement. It indicates time and arrangement of crops during a particular acreage. That is, indicates time and arrangement of crops during a particular acreage. At which time, how we are arranging our crops, what kind of cultivation you are using at what point of time. That is what cropping pattern is. Now, what is effect of environment? Effect of environment by effect on environment by cropping pattern. How cropping pattern affects environment? First of all, first point here we can write water intensive cropping pattern can increase water wastage. When you reach high water, the cropping patterns requiring high irrigation increases water wastage. Example, which cropping pattern you can give here an example? That is rice patterns. And the rice is a very water intensive crop. Next we can write use of high fertilizers and high irrigation can lead to its leaching to groundwater and can contaminate groundwater. When you use high fertilizer with high irrigation, the excess fertilizer leaches to groundwater and leads to its contamination. Moving on, next we can write livestock production. Cropping pattern with livestock production lead to high GHG emissions. These are the major anthropogenic sources of GHG, major non-human sources of GHG, which we can say methane, and you can say nitrous oxide. So these are the effect on environment by cropping pattern. Moving on to the next effects. When we increase the area of cropping pattern, increase the area of crops, what that leads to? Deforestation, biodiversity loss, habitat loss for biodiversity. Extension of agriculture leads to deforestation of forest. We have studied it many times. So moving on next. Increase of high monocropping. High monocropping leads to reduction of genetic diversity. High monocropping, we are growing same and same crop time after time, like in rice cropping patterns, and growing rice in all the seasons. In Rabi also rice, in Kharif also rice, and next season comes, then in Rabi also rice, then Kharif in also rice. So that leads to decrease in genetic diversity. Moving on, use of fertilizers and irrigation. We all know degrade soil, leads to soil erosion. Cropping patterns are the major causes of all three pollution, that is air, water and soil. Causes all the three pollutions: air pollution, releasing of GHGs; water pollution, contamination of groundwater by leaching; soil pollution, soil erosion by excess use of fertilizer and irrigation. So that is how our environment is affected by our cropping pattern. So how will you mitigate these effects? How can we fight these effects? So given its mitigation, it is in the same topic. How are we going to mitigate the effects of cropping pattern on environment? First, what we will do? We will do crop rotations. We will not use monocropping, grow different crops in different seasons. We use low water content crops. Low water content crops such as millets. What it will do? It will first of all conserve the water, and the problems of soil erosion, leaching to groundwater can also be decreased. You will use FYM and organic manures instead of fertilizers. We will not use fertilizers. FYM and organic manure instead of chemical fertilizers. We will do integrated nutrient management, integrated pest management using biological methods. Example, use of dragonfly, I have told you several times. We will do diversification of crops, grow different crops in different season. We will practice agroforestry. What agroforestry does? First of all, it diversifies our products. We have got both trees, timber and other non-FTPs from trees, and as well as both crops. And also agroforestry reduces soil erosion, etc. Development of rice varieties emitting less methane. Rice used to emit a lot of methane, which lead to GHG emissions. So we need to use of rice variety emitting less methane. We should focus on no-till, conservation agriculture. What this will do? This will reduce soil erosion. So that's how will we mitigate the harmful effects of cropping pattern on environment. Moving on next. Now, what is effect of environment? Effect on cropping pattern by environment. How environment affects our cropping pattern? How in our cropping pattern affected by our environment? First of all, we can see change of rainfall pattern or precipitation pattern. Reduces crop production. 60% of Indian agriculture is rainfed. is rainfall. That is 60% of our agriculture, Indian agriculture, is dependent directly on rainfall for irrigation. So change in rainfall pattern will severely decrease our cropping pattern, severely decrease our crop production. Moving next, floods leads to soil erosion, destruction of crops. Then we have droughts, also leads to destruction of crop, leads to farmer suicide. Yeah, I've heard a lot of farmer suicide in Maharashtra. Increase in humidity and CO2 lead to increase in pest and diseases. Moving on, as in high humidity, more pests and diseases occur. Hailstorms, very high wind speed, all these reduces our yield, reduces yields. So this is how our cropping pattern is affected by environment, effect on cropping pattern by environment. That was the topic. And now, how will we mitigate this? How will we mitigate the harmful effects of environment, adverse effects of environment on our cropping pattern? So it's mitigation. How will we mitigate it? First of all, use of cropping pattern as per agroecological factors. As we have studied agroecology in last two lectures, so we need to plant crops that are adapted to those local regions as per agroecological factors. Moving on next, extension services needs to guide farmers, teach farmers to help them mitigate the adverse effect of environments. Use of stress resistant crops, example millets, for less rainfall areas. This certainly helps. Agroforestry and livestock for supplement or economic supplement, you can say. So what this will do, this will manage our risk. If crop fails, we can have enough money from livestock so that our risk is managed. It doesn't go 100% destruction. So this is how we need to plan using various agroforestry systems or integrated farming systems. We need some disaster alert systems, rainfall prediction systems, so that they aware the farmer previously, so that they can plan their cropping pattern or crops as per it. So this is how will we mitigate the adverse effects of environment on cropping pattern. Moving on next, I think we have discussed earlier too. I am just discussing it again. Factors determining cropping pattern in India. What are the factors that determine cropping pattern in India? First of all, there is natural factor. What are natural factors? We all know rainfall, soil, climate, etc. So these are the natural factors. Moving on next, we have got historical factors. So these are factors which determine cropping pattern in India. Historical factors, what example we can give? Land type of ownership, land tenure systems. So this is all related to historical factors. Moving on next, there are social factors like custom, tradition, soil, environment, etc. So in, as you know, society like tradition, some in some tribes, in some religion, there is taboo of growing some crops. For example, Punjabis don't grow tobacco. For Muslims, they don't go for piggery. For Hindus, they sorry, while as tribal society highly dependent on piggery. So these are the social factors. Moving on next, there are some economic factors. Example, prices of crops, input, size of holding. As small farmers that is less than 2 hectare of land need to manage cropping pattern as per them. There we have got government policies. Example, taxes, subsidies, MSP, export policy. These all affects the cropping pattern. Crop covered under MSP are grown much by farmer. So, for example, you can see rice, wheat. So this is how these are the factors determining cropping pattern in India. So once question was asked, differentiating cropping pattern and cropping system. What is cropping pattern and what is cropping system? So first we'll move into cropping pattern. What is cropping pattern? It is the type and arrangement, as we have discussed earlier, type and arrangement of crops in time and space at a particular time, in time and space. Here you can say we have got yearly sequences or spatial arrangement of crops. Yearly sequence, that is crop after crop, season by season. We can also see crop. For one season we will keep it fallow, then crop. So this is what yearly sequence is. And it can also be defined as the proportion of area under various crops at a point of time. Okay, proportion of area under various crops. How cropping pattern, cultivation practices, cropping pattern of an area in particular time. That is proportion of area under various crops at different times, at particular times. So this is what, or for example, you can crop rotations practiced by farmers as per local conditions. Though these are all, this all comes in cropping patterns. Now moving on to cropping system. What is system? Cropping system is cropping pattern plus management. That is manage cropping pattern and its management to drive benefits, to get benefits from a given resource base under a specific environmental condition. These are very critical definitions. We need to remember this under specific environmental condition. Keep making notes as I am teaching you. These notes are very helpful at the end of this course. So what is cropping system? Cropping pattern plus management. That is cropping pattern and its management that and to derive benefits from a given resource base under a specific environment condition. So this is what cropping system is. What is does it changes with? It changes with place, environment, that is its location is specific. In different locations we have got different cropping systems. It's very much location is specific. And we can see cropping pattern used on farm and their interaction with farm resources, other farm enterprises which determine their makeup are also part of cropping system. Cropping pattern and their interactions. Cropping pattern and their interactions with farm resources, machinery, farm enterprises, etc. all comes under cropping system. So there are two types of cropping system mainly, that is monocropping, when we grow one crop season after season, and we have multiple cropping when we use different types of crop. First we have grown rice, then wheat, then millet, like this agroforestry systems. So this is what cropping pattern, cropping system is. Hope you know that. It is definition is type and arrangement of crop in given time and space, that is cropping pattern. It is proportion of area of crops at a point of time, that is what cropping pattern. Cropping pattern and its management to drive benefits is what cropping system is. So hope you understand this well. So I think that is all for today's class, and as this topic was very long, we have covered the topic 4 in 3 lectures, 4A, 4 and 4C, and the topic 4 is complete. And if for any queries, just do comment. I will like to solve it as soon as possible. If you like it, please press the like button and subscribe it. That's all for today. Thank you.